Hello and good morning. Welcome to the Unboxed Live. We come to you every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. If you're new here, my name is Catherine and this is Susan, and we are Unboxed Advisors. So, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Yes. All right. I have a confession, a
Okay.
QuickBooks confession.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm, I don't know if I'm qualified.
Uh, so I, I reserve the right to change my mind, right? Like we all do. What
Sure.
we thought about, or maybe earlier on in our career, we're allowed to change our mind. And when I first graduated college, I worked with larger organizations who used Sage products and NetSuite and had custom programs, industry specific. And when I made the transition from working within large scale organizations to small businesses, I was appalled that small businesses were using QuickBooks. I truly thought it was one step up from managing a lemonade stand. I was like, how can you manage a successful business? And now working with a lot of small business owners, this is a wonderful tool. And I think QuickBooks, because we used to see it at Best Buy on the shelf in the little DVD, it's kind of got the bad rap for mom and pops. And Susan, is it just for lemonade stands?
No, it's an extremely powerful tool. As a matter of fact, if probably surveyed all of the users of QuickBooks, I would say 99.9% of them are underutilizing this software. They're using the basic functions and they don't really understand how to maximize it fully to help them automate, streamline their accounting, to empower them to cut down on manual tasks, how to integrate it with other softwares. I think there's a ton of missed opportunity here. And QuickBooks Online is an open API software. So, I mean, there's lots of different programs from FP&A, cash flow forecasting, all of your accrual entries. Like you want to automate accrual entries. You want to automate, hey, owner, examine these transactions, tell us where they go, and then it updates QuickBooks automatically. I mean, you name it, it's out there. There are a bajillion different apps that integrate with QuickBooks. So I think it's highly underutilized. And I have a confession too. So up until about, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, maybe less than that, maybe a year ago, I was like, I turned my nose up at QuickBooks Online and I thought, this is a piece of crap program. It's slow, it's clunky, and I am all in on QuickBooks Desktop, like, because I think that it's more secure and you host it and put it in the cloud and you get all the same functionality. And the bottom line is that that's not true. There is just a limited amount of flexibility with creating an interface to the desktop product. The QuickBooks Online product, it's super easy to get stuff connected and lots of stuff syncing automatically into your QuickBooks file. So I'm kind of a convert too.
Yeah, and when you talk about syncing, one of the best features is the bank feeds. They will connect with big banks, regional banks, even community banks because of their open API. So, where you choose to do banking, likely it will integrate into QuickBooks.
Mhm.
One of the misnomers that I had was thinking that QuickBooks couldn't handle a $10 million company. And I was totally wrong. It doesn't matter the number as far as the dollar amount that it's tracking. It's all about the transactions and the level of reporting. Now, Susan, you helped me with this tremendously by working with small business owners that have multiple departments, multiple product lines, different locations. Can you talk a little bit about how the classes work? Because that is a super neat feature.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of different things. There is both locations and classes. So if you are need track, like for example, real estate, tracking P&L, like so P&L activity, revenue, expenses by property, set up the class function. If you need to track locations in order to determine like nexus for either sales tax reporting or even income tax reporting, location is really good. Or where is business being generated from? There's a lot of latitude in there. I think one of my favorite things though is the fact that once you get that data and it's all, it's garbage in, garbage out with every accounting system, doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
But once you get it in there in a very consistent format and you've got really solid accounting processes, now on the back end, there's so many reporting tools that sit over top of QuickBooks Online, which can pull data out. That can be consolidated. That can be consolidated and for forecasting, budgeting. I mean, all sorts of dashboards and you name it in terms of like, it's pretty cool. It's just really cool stuff.
Yes. And there's still it's now old school where you can get it to Excel, you can get it to a PDF. So even if you're not using a third party tool, let's say that you are a little bit smaller and you don't need that cash flow projection beast of a behemoth, there's still Excel and PDF. And it's real easy where it's a one click, very clear, export here button. There's not a different screen that you have to hop into and then download it someplace and then wait 20 minutes. It's really instantaneous.
And there are plenty of programs out there. The other thing, I was just laughing. I was just assisting a client with filing some payroll tax returns, and they had to file them with a government agency. And it's like the government agency is like, well, do this today, and then those will batch and post overnight. And then tomorrow you can do this. And then the next day you can do this. I mean, that's like sort of the old mainframe kind of thing. Like, that's not the world that QuickBooks Online lives in. It's all real time. And some of the tools too that sit on top of it, I mean, they're all happening real time. You get your payroll configuration. I mean, every time payroll gets run, it's syncing right in there. You don't have to wait. There aren't these delays. Accounting is becoming more instantaneous. And this program, QuickBooks kind of sits in the middle and it kind of gets data from all these different places. And it's allowing you to keep your records a lot more updated, and just have a faster turnaround time on all of your month-end close and maybe even more frequent closes.
Well, one of the places that it does a really nice job is invoicing and easy payments. To create an invoice in QuickBooks, it's a couple steps. It walks you right through it. Create the invoice, you drop in the customer, you fill out, and it walks you through very easily in plain English what needs to go where. And once you issue that invoice, you can set it up where there's just a little payment link. And you've probably seen these 100 times before, but it makes it really easy for your customers to pay your bill. It does all of the back end accounting, which is fabulous. You can resend those invoices from the system and get your cash faster. So that's another way that it speeds things up.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, and I've had this is like a debate and like, well, I can go to this payment processor and get a lot cheaper, but then you've got to go manually and like apply all of your payments. Like, to me, it's just worth it to pay for a little bit more in a percentage for every transaction to not have to pay a person to do something a computer can do. I mean, if the computer's going to do it automatically, it's worth the money because then it's automated and nobody has to look at it. We always know it's right. No one fat fingered it. No one messed up. No one was out today and couldn't get to that task, right? Our AR is always updated. So we know exactly what we've got outstanding, who our good customers are that are paying, who are not, when to stop sending orders or stop extending credit. Like all those other decisions that sort of go into the accounts receivable process can kind of, the challenges with that go away if you just subscribe to the QuickBooks Online pricing. And the other thing about that, because you mentioned like it's really easy to do it. You can do it from your phone, iPad. You can send an invoice straight from your phone. I mean, my lawn guy sends invoices. QuickBooks Online, I get them and I click it, Apple Pay, done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he never has to worry about a collections issue because it's so simple.
Yes. Another process that it does really nicely, and I'm just going to come out and say it because you're all thinking it. Paying bills sucks. It sucks. But it doesn't have to be your software's fault why it is so painful. So with QuickBooks, one of the features that I like is when you receive an invoice from a vendor, you can take that PDF or that invoice that you received and tuck it right into QuickBooks. So it's saved right there. There's no worry, there's no rummaging through your server afterwards. It's saved. And then you can put it all into a nice report. So you have your bookkeeper yourself put in all of your bills for the week. You can run a report, how much each bill is, when it's due, and select which ones you're going to pay this week. And voila, automate sending off a payment to your vendors. So that is a really nice way to automate the bill pay feature.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised still the number of people who are managing accounts payable with a manila folder. Like they open the mail, they look at the bill, they might scrutinize it, right? They're going through some type of mental approval process, like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right, or yep, that's in line with what I expected. And then they put it in a folder. And then once a week or every other week or something, they take out their folder and then they just write checks. That wreaks havoc in a set of financial records because now you've got a bill payment happening like 30 days after the expense actually was incurred by the company. So even if you're not doing true accrual accounting, still using that AP function to manage your bills gets you a better picture, much better picture of your financial performance. As if you didn't, right? So it might not be perfect. But it's much better accounting if we can at least get the bills entered in the period in which they actually relate to versus waiting 30 or maybe even more days, just depending on when the person gets around to paying them, right? So, or in the worst case is when the check clears the bank, right? Because if you're not going through the process of enter bill, pay bill, your only other method of recording that typically is if you don't go in and actually enter it in the check register is when it clears the bank and it comes through the bank feed, which could be God knows when. I mean, whenever the vendor gets around to cashing it, that could be 3, 6, 60, 30, 60, 90 days, 120 days later.
Yeah.
So,
well, bottom line, QuickBooks Online is not just for lemonade stands. There are tons of small businesses out there using this tool. Super simple to use, integrates with everything. And if you are using this tool or your accounting team is using this tool, like Susan mentioned earlier, make sure you're logging in once a month from your phone. Make sure that you retain access.
Yeah, big issue. When we start working with people, the first thing we ask for is access to your books. And they're like, I don't even know if I have access to my books. Like, you need access to your books, business owners. Like, it's your responsibility, not only as the owner, but as the taxpayer. Because if that bookkeeper or CPA or whatever vanishes off the face of this earth, you're still responsible for those accounting records and those tax records. The accounting records that underlie the tax records too. I mean, like, you have to be able to substantiate this stuff. So, like, definitely get your act together on that, people.
Yes. And on getting your act together, please enter in your expenses in real time into QuickBooks. You have a much better chance of getting all of your deductions and all of your expenses properly categorized if you do it in real time. When you gather up everything and then wait for March, and I'm asking you about a transaction that happened in February of the year prior, it's just we're running on hopes and dreams at this point.
Oh yeah. No one can remember all that. I mean, I mean, you can't. I mean, I've sat down with people before, and it's like, hey, you paid so and so this, $2,000. Then they're like, I did. Why would I have done that? And I'm like, I wish I knew. I would be able to put it in the right place in the accounting records, but like, they can't even remember. And sometimes these are not small dollar amounts. Sometimes people are like, whoa, what was that for? And I mean, that really should give you pause as a business owner to be like, hold on just a second. If I don't remember where 25, 50, $100,000 went, like, this is a real problem. I have a control issue. I've got to fix this now.
Yeah. We talked to a prospective client who had $10,000 invoices hanging out that they're like, yeah, I just don't know how to create an invoice and send it. And it's like, oh, QuickBooks. low cost, even no cost. I think there's even a free platform if you needed to grab it. But whew,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
great
a
tool.
yeah, great tool. So, and the other thing is people know how to use it. Don't pick some random free, you know, completely obscure software because chances are pretty good accountants are so busy, they don't want to take the time to learn your free software. They need
Mhm.
you to use something that is mainstream that they know how to get in and do. So that's another thing to really be thinking about, depending on what software you're really going after and who you are in terms of like the size of your business and who you're gonna be working with, whether that's bookkeeper, tax accountant, controller, blah, blah, whatever, whatever position of individual, because some people just will be like, I don't want anything to do with that. Not interested.
Yes. I'll be the first one to admit I haven't learned FreshBooks.
Right. Or Wave, or I mean, there's a bunch of these programs out here that are supposedly, they have a general ledger software attached to them. Like, I mean, Zoho has accounting, and Zero has has an accounting program. You have to think about like what your accountant uses. Ask that question, and just because you're with that accountant right now, is that something like maybe your industry subscribes to you? So if you were to like maybe go grow up and be acquired or sell your business or something like that, is this something that somebody would be like, yes, pretty much everybody in this industry uses this software. And so those real big considerations to be thinking about there.
Well, don't be scared by QuickBooks Online. They have made a believer out of both me and Susan that this is a powerful tool. If you would like assistance with getting your QuickBooks set up, feel free to contact us over at unboxedadvisors.com. If you are a business owner and you're like, I would love for you to take a look at my books to let me know what it looks like. Am I ship shape or am I a dumpster fire? We'd be happy to take a look as well for you. 'Tis the season for advanced tax planning, so it's the perfect time to get a health check on your financials. So with that, we will see you in the next live next week, Thursdays at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. Check us out at Unboxed Advisors, and we'll see you in the next